Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at one of the most astonishing and at the same time sobering transformations happening in our world, the slow drying up of the Jordan River and the startling revelations that have come to light because of it. The Jordan River has for thousands of years been not just a waterway, but a symbol, a sacred line flowing through history, religion, culture, and survival. It carried armies, sustained farmers, inspired prophets, and connected civilizations. Its waters gave life to countless generations across Israel, Jordan, and Palestine. Yet today, the river that once surged with meaning and strength has shrunk so dramatically that in many stretches it is reduced to a trickle. And what is even more surprising, as those waters recede, the land beneath is revealing hidden stories that we never expected to see. The first impression when looking at the Jordan today is almost shocking. Where once water rolled over rocks and carried reeds and fish downstream, now cracked mud and barren patches dominate the eye. The exterior view is a portrait of absence, a reminder of how quickly nature can change when burdened by both climate pressures and human demands. Along the banks, old channels and dried pools mark where the river once flowed. Trees that once thrived on its edges now lean and wither, their roots struggling to find moisture. Yet in this bleakness, something extraordinary is happening. The drying has uncovered remnants of civilizations that lived by the river thousands of years ago. Stones that once formed walls, fragments of pottery, ancient steps carved into the earth. These things are now visible because the water has receded. To stand in such a place is to feel the weight of history pressing up from the ground, whispering reminders of those who lived before us. What lies beneath the surface is even more remarkable. Archaeologists and locals have begun to notice signs of settlements long hidden by the flowing river. Pieces of everyday life, tools, shards of jars, forgotten irrigation structures, are being revealed slowly as if the river is pulling back a curtain on the past. This interior discovery reminds us that the Jordan was not just a religious symbol, but also a cradle of human ingenuity. Communities built their lives around it, farming its fertile banks, guiding herds to drink, and traveling along its course. For many centuries, the river was both life and mystery, and even now in its diminished state, it continues to offer new stories about the resilience and creativity of humanity. These glimpses beneath the surface are brief but deeply powerful, hinting at how much still remains uncovered. The reality of its present state, however, forces us to think about performance in another sense. The Jordan River once stretched nearly 250 kilometers with strength and vigor, a vital artery in the region's landscape. Today, due to dams, diversion for agriculture, and climate shifts, it has lost nearly 90% of its natural flow. In some sections, what remains is little more than a stagnant pool. Where once fish thrived, ecosystems are now in collapse. The river's performance as a life-giving waterway has been crippled by years of overuse. This is not just a story of climate, it is also one of human choices. And yet, paradoxically, this underperformance has allowed access to places previously unreachable. Like a great stage pulling back its curtains, the failing river is allowing us to witness secrets that were submerged for millennia. But what emerges also comes with warnings about safety. The ecological risks are immense. The drying river has left marshes to wither, birds without safe resting grounds, and farmers without water for crops. Communities that once relied on fishing or farming along its banks are forced to adapt, often in hardship. Beyond the natural dangers, there are also cultural safety issues. Once artifacts are revealed to the open air, they are vulnerable. Winds, rain, or even looters can damage or steal these priceless remains. If not quickly protected, what has emerged could be lost forever. Governments and international organizations are already debating how best to protect the fragile sites that have begun to show themselves. The challenge is balancing the urgent need to preserve history with the equally urgent need to revive the river itself. The uniqueness of this situation is undeniable. The Jordan River is not just any river, it is sacred in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. For Jews, it was the river crossed by Joshua and the Israelites when they entered the Promised Land. For Christians, it is the river where John baptized Jesus, a sacred act that echoes through centuries of faith. For Muslims, it is a river tied to prophets and sacred landscapes. That a river carrying so much religious and cultural meaning is now drying, and at the same time revealing hidden traces of ancient societies, is nothing short of astonishing. The uniqueness lies in the combination of spiritual, historical, and archaeological importance, all colliding in a single moment. Very few places in the world carry this depth of meaning. The Jordan in decline is not only a physical loss, but also a symbolic one, shaking the image of a place long held as eternal in the imagination of billions of believers. The cost of this transformation is staggering. The price is paid in many ways: environmental, cultural, and social. Wildlife that once thrived in its waters are disappearing, leaving broken chains in the ecosystem. Farmers who relied on irrigation from the Jordan face crop failures and economic decline. Nations that share its waters are drawn into disputes as scarcity heightens tension. On a broader scale, the loss of water in the Jordan Valley threatens regional stability, reminding us of how deeply intertwined environment and politics really are. Yet alongside these costs is a strange balance: the priceless revelations being uncovered. The artifacts and ruins emerging from the dried riverbed cannot be valued in money. They hold the potential to reshape our understanding of ancient civilizations, of trade networks, of religious practices that evolved along its banks. This balance between devastating cost and priceless gain is perhaps the most haunting part of the Jordan's story today. As we reflect on the broader picture, the drying of the Jordan River compels us to think not only about the past, but also the future. It is a wake-up call about climate change, about overconsumption, about the need for nations to cooperate when it comes to shared resources. At the same time, it is a reminder that even in crisis, there can be discovery, there can be knowledge, there can be meaning. The Jordan has been flowing through the stories of humanity for thousands of years. Now, even as its waters fade, it continues to offer new chapters. The question is whether we will listen, whether we will learn, and whether we will act in time to protect both the natural and the cultural treasures it holds. The conclusion is both sobering and inspiring. The Jordan River drying up is not simply an environmental tragedy, it is also a revelation. The land it leaves behind is a mirror of history, reflecting civilizations, faiths, and human resilience. It is a warning about the consequences of neglect, but it is also a gift of discovery. As waters recede, secrets emerge, and in those secrets we may find not only understanding of our past, but also lessons for our future. The river may be shrinking, but its voice is louder than ever. We are left with the responsibility to protect what remains, to honor what has been revealed, and to ensure that future generations inherit both the water and the wisdom of the Jordan. Thank you for being with us today, and as always, stay curious, stay engaged, and we'll see you in the next exploration.